Emily Dawson never considered herself a social media addict, but like most 20-year-olds in her university dorm, Snapchat had become a part of her daily life. She used it to stay in touch with friends, post silly selfies, and scroll through stories of parties she didn't attend. It was harmless entertainment. Or at least, it had always seemed that way. Her favorite filters were the playful ones, the puppy ears, the flower crowns, the face-distorting lenses that could make her laugh even on the worst of days. She used Snapchat before classes, after meals, and often just before going to bed. It became routine, like brushing her teeth or locking her door at night. But one night, that routine turned into something she would never be able to forget. It was a Thursday evening in late October. The wind outside was sharp and restless, and a light drizzle tapped against the dorm window as if something wanted in. Emily's roommate, Carla, had left for the weekend to visit family, so she had the room all to herself. Normally, that meant catching up on homework in peace or binge-watching Netflix in bed without headphones. But tonight, she felt restless and unable to focus. Her psychology assignment lay untouched on her desk, and the cursor blinked at her in the empty Word document. She sighed and picked up her phone. The Snapchat camera opened by default. Her reflection looked tired, her eyes slightly puffy from the long day. She flipped through the filters absent-mindedly until she landed on her favorite, the classic dog filter with floppy ears and the cartoonish tongue. She smiled at herself and recorded a few seconds of her wagging tongue, just for fun. Then she froze. The filter tongue extended as expected from her mouth, but there was another tongue. It flicked out beside her cheek, attached to no face. It happened so fast she wasn't even sure she saw it right. She watched the snap again. This time, it was clearer. A second dog tongue had appeared to her left. For just a second, it had been there, licking upward, then vanishing as if it had never existed. Chills crept up her spine. She quickly exited the snap and checked the camera feed again. Her reflection stared back. She panned her phone to the left, revealing the empty half of the room. No one was there. The space beside her bed was empty. The desk and Carla's nightstand were untouched. She looked around the room physically, just to be sure. Still empty. No shadows. No movement. Maybe it was a glitch. Snapchat filters weren't perfect, and sometimes the app misidentified objects or lighting as a face. She had seen people post clips of chairs wearing sunglasses and bananas with rabbit ears. That had to be it. Emily laughed nervously and shook her head. She was overthinking. To prove it to herself, she turned the filter back on and recorded again. She made a goofy face and waited for the tongue to animate. Nothing unusual. Just her and her pixelated ears. She tilted her head and turned the camera slightly. Then it happened again. The filter reacted to something beside her. Not an object. Not a reflection. A face. The app's built-in face tracker outlined a second face, barely visible and faint like a shadow. It was pale and featureless except for the eyes. Wide, hollow, and watching. The filter glitched, placing dog ears above it. They floated in the air for less than a second, then disappeared along with the shadow. This time she dropped her phone. It clattered to the wooden floor, the screen still lit. Her breathing quickened. She stood up and backed away from where the image had appeared. Her bed sat quietly against the wall. The dark curtain swayed slightly from the breeze leaking through the window frame, but there was no one in the room. She was alone. Wasn't she? Emily picked up the phone again, her hand trembling. Her thumb hovered over the saved snaps. She hadn't meant to save the video, but maybe the app did it automatically. She opened the camera roll. There it was. The second clip. She tapped it and watched. At first, it was normal. Her face, her laughter, the exaggerated tongue. Then, the ghostly shape appeared beside her, its head slightly turned toward hers. The second face didn't smile or blink. It only stared. She paused the video. Frame by frame, she slid her finger across the timeline. The filter had identified it. There were ears, a nose, and that impossible tongue. But what was worse, beneath the dog features, was a smile. Thin, stretched, and inhuman. Something had been there. Emily backed into the wall and sat down on the edge of her bed. Her eyes darted across the room. Every shadow seemed to move. Every creak from the building's old foundation made her flinch. She thought about calling Carla, but she didn't want to sound crazy. What would she say? That she found a ghost through a filter? Still, she needed answers. She messaged her friend Jordan, who was majoring in computer science and often joked about app glitches and artificial intelligence. She sent him the clip and waited. Jordan replied almost immediately. "That's creepy as hell. Is that someone behind you?" Emily responded, "There was no one there." He texted back, "Nah. That thing has a face." Snapchat's facial recognition only activates on actual face-like patterns. It's not perfect, but it doesn't work on walls or random shapes. Her stomach dropped. She asked if he was messing with her. He swore he wasn't. She put the phone down and stared at the reflection of the room in her window. A flicker of movement made her heart stop. It wasn't her reflection that moved, it was something behind her reflection. She turned quickly. Nothing. The rest of the night, she left the lights on and stayed away from Snapchat. But it didn't end there. The next morning, she checked her phone out of habit. New notification, you have a new memory from last night. Confused, she opened the Memories tab. A snap was saved that she didn't recall taking. It was a still image. Her face. Blank expression. No filter. But something stood directly behind her in the mirror. A figure with white, blurred skin, a long face, and hollow black pits where its eyes should be. Her fingers trembled. She hadn't taken this photo. She looked at the timestamp. 2:42 a.m. She had been asleep by then. She opened her camera roll. Nothing. The snap existed only in the app's memory folder. She hit delete. The phone asked if she was sure. She confirmed. The snap vanished. For a moment, she breathed again. But at 2:42 a.m. that night, a soft notification chime woke her Snapchat. One new snap from an unknown user. No name. No Bitmoji. Just a blank icon. She hesitated before opening it. The screen went dark. A photo appeared. It was her. Sleeping. Taken from inside her room. Emily screamed and threw her phone across the room. She turned on every light, locked the door twice, and pushed her desk in front of it. Her heart pounded in her ears. Who was in her room? How did they send that? She tried to recover the snap to show anyone, but when she retrieved the phone, the snap had expired. The account was gone. No message. No history. Just a lingering sense of dread. She reported the user, deleted the app, and spent the night curled under her blanket with a kitchen knife she didn't know how to use. When Carla returned Sunday evening, Emily told her everything. Carla listened silently, then looked around the room. Nothing was out of place. No signs of forced entry. No clues. But Emily's eyes were sunken and tired, and her voice trembled as she spoke. They both decided to switch dorm rooms before the semester ended. Weeks passed. Emily avoided filters. She switched to a new phone. She made peace with her skepticism and told herself that whatever it was, glitch or ghost, it was behind her. Until last night. She got a notification from an unknown account. No name. No avatar. Just a snap. She opened it. It was a photo of her, taken from the outside of her new bedroom window. A single line of text was typed over it. I like this one. Jake Mitchell was the kind of guy who liked quiet. At 23, fresh out of college and working a night job in IT support, he often found solace in long, late-night walks through the wooded trails near his small apartment complex. The town of Cedar Grove, nestled on the edge of a forest preserve, was a peaceful place, too quiet for some, but perfect for someone like Jake who preferred the rustling of trees to the noise of crowds. His routine was simple. After his shift ended around midnight, he'd stop at the convenience store for a drink, put in his earbuds, and walk the loop trail behind the residential block. It was just under 2 miles and well lit near the entrance, but most of the trail twisted deep into the woods with only scattered solar lights and moonlight to guide the path. Jake loved it. The shadows, the sounds of nocturnal wildlife, the crisp air, it all felt like a world separate from the one he dealt with during the day. On a chilly Thursday night in November, Jake followed his usual pattern. The air was damp with fog, and the ground was slick from an earlier drizzle. He zipped up his hoodie, stuffed his hands in his pockets, and started the loop. About halfway through, he took out his phone and began filming a short snap for his story. Nothing special, just the moon peeking through branches, the fog rolling in low, and the crunch of leaves beneath his boots. His caption was a lazy late-night piece with a couple of emojis. He uploaded the story without much thought, slid the phone back into his pocket, and finished the loop. When he got home, he showered, made some tea, and climbed into bed. The apartment was silent except for the occasional creak from the walls adjusting to the cold. He picked up his phone to check social media before sleeping. When he opened Snapchat to see who had viewed his story, something strange stood out. There were 23 views. But Jake only had 22 friends on Snapchat. At first, he assumed someone he had forgotten about re-added him. Maybe a coworker or an old classmate. He tapped the viewer list. The usual names appeared: his cousin Tyler, his ex-roommate Drew, a couple of people from work. Then there was one more. No Bitmoji. No username. Just an eye emoji, where the name should be. Jake blinked and tapped the icon again. Snapchat gave an error message. User not found. The profile was blank. No details. It was like the account didn't exist. He frowned. Could it be a glitch? A bug in the app? He shrugged it off and went to sleep, dismissing it as a harmless quirk of the system. The next night, after another late shift and another quiet walk, he posted a second story. This time, it was a quick 10-second video of a raccoon he spotted near the trailhead. He laughed and zoomed in as it waddled away into the brush. When he got home, he checked the views again. 23. And there it was. An eye emoji eye again. This time, Jake felt uneasy. He had heard of Snapchat glitches before, but seeing that strange eye emoji 2 nights in a row, tied to a view on a private story, seemed more deliberate than random. He decided to screen record the viewer list and send it to his friend Riley, who was always on top of app updates and internet weirdness. Riley responded after a few minutes. That's not normal. You sure your account isn't public? Jake checked. No. His account was locked. Friends only. Riley sent another message. Could be someone spoofing a profile. Creepy though. You might want to stop posting at night. Jake laughed it off, trying to keep his nerves in check. He wasn't easily rattled, but something about the situation felt off. The third night, it happened again. He didn't even post a story this time. He just opened the app, and a new snap appeared from a username he didn't recognize. No name. Just a blank ghost icon. The message was unopened. He hesitated. Finally, curiosity got the better of him. He tapped it. The screen turned black for a few seconds. Then, a video started. It was him. Sleeping. The video was taken from outside his bedroom window. His bed was visible through the curtains, and his body could be seen faintly under the blanket. The camera zoomed in slowly, as if the person filming was only a few feet away. Jake's stomach dropped. He scrambled out of bed and ran to the window. Nothing. Just the faint glow of streetlights and the distant rustling of leaves. He yanked the curtain shut and stepped back, heart pounding. He checked the window locks. Still latched. Everything seemed secure. His thoughts spiraled. Who would do this? Was someone stalking him? Did they know his schedule? He opened Snapchat again to look for the account. It was gone. No username. No snap history. No saved messages. He reported the incident to Snapchat through the in-app form, but he knew it would take time to get a response if one ever came. He called the non-emergency police line, explained the situation, and filed a report, though he had no suspect and little evidence beyond the now-disappeared snap. The officer he spoke to was polite but not especially concerned. "Probably a prank," they said. "Make sure your windows are locked and call us if anything else happens." That night, Jake didn't sleep. Every sound outside made him flinch. Every flicker of movement in the shadows sent chills down his spine. He blocked the window with a dresser and sat in the kitchen with a baseball bat, waiting for dawn. The next day, he told his boss he needed time off. He explained it as a personal emergency. They granted him 3 days. Jake used the time to change his routine. He no longer went on late walks. He deleted Snapchat and reinstalled it under a new email. He only added close friends. The incident faded slightly from his mind, like a nightmare losing clarity after a restless sleep. But exactly 1 week later, he received another notification. New snap. Unknown sender. This time, the image was of the trail. The same path he had filmed the first night. The photo was taken from the trees. From somewhere deep in the forest, aimed at the spot where he had stood with his phone raised. Written in the center of the screen were the words, "Why did you stop posting?" Jake threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. His hands trembled. He stood frozen in place, staring at the screen as if it might come to life. He didn't sleep that night either. The next morning, he packed a bag and drove to stay with his brother in the next town. He didn't explain everything. Just said he needed to get away. His brother welcomed him without question. The house was warmer, noisier, full of family and the hum of daily life. For a while, Jake felt like he could breathe again. But one afternoon, while everyone was out running errands and Jake was alone on the couch, his phone buzzed. He had reinstalled Snapchat just to see if anything would happen. One new snap. It was a photo of his brother's living room. Taken from outside. The same message appeared. "Why did you stop posting?" Jake deleted the app permanently. He replaced his phone. He stopped going online. But even now, late at night, when he walks past a reflective surface or hears a faint knock at the window, he wonders. Is someone still watching? Still waiting? And if he ever posts again, what will they do? Tessa Donovan had always been a fan of streaks. Her Snapchat account had over 300 active ones, tiny digital flames representing day after day of exchanged snaps with friends across the globe. Each morning and night, like clockwork, she would open her camera, smile, make a face, or capture something mundane and send it to everyone on her list. It wasn't even about the content anymore. It was a ritual. Something familiar and reliable, like brushing her teeth or setting an alarm. Even when life got chaotic, she never broke a streak. Until one day, she did. And everything changed. It began on a cold Friday evening in October, just as the sun dipped behind the horizon and cast a burnt orange hue over the suburban rooftops. Tessa had just finished her shift at the local bookstore and was riding the bus home. She scrolled through her apps absent-mindedly, replying to friends, watching stories, and preparing to send her usual round of streak snaps. Her phone buzzed repeatedly with notifications. But one stood out. It was from a name she didn't recognize at JohnnyGhost99. She hesitated. She didn't remember ever adding that person. The profile didn't have a Bitmoji or display picture. No mutual friends were listed either. She tapped the name and opened the message. It was a photo. Black and white. Grainy. It showed a narrow hallway lit only by a flickering bulb. The walls were cracked, and at the far end, there was a figure. Human in shape but shadowy, standing completely still with their arms by their sides and their head tilted slightly to the left. The timestamp read 11:11 p.m., and the caption beneath the photo simply said, "Nice streaks." Tessa blinked. Her heart thudded once, heavily, in her chest. She laughed it off nervously. Probably a random spammer or bot. She deleted the snap and blocked the account without replying. Then she resumed her streak routine and got off the bus. At home, everything felt normal at first. Her mom was making pasta in the kitchen. Her younger brother, Nate, was yelling at his Xbox in the living room. She climbed the stairs to her room, dropped her backpack on the floor, and plugged in her phone. 10 minutes later, another notification arrived. Snapchat, new snap from @JohnnyGhost99. Tessa stared at the screen in disbelief. She had blocked the account. Hadn't she? She checked her settings. The account no longer appeared on her friends list. But the snap was there, unread. With a sick feeling in her stomach, she opened it. This time, the image was darker. The same hallway as before. The same flickering light. But now, the figure was closer. No longer at the far end, now halfway down the hall. Still expressionless. Still unmoving. The caption had changed. "Don't stop now." Tessa's hand trembled slightly. She pressed her phone's power button and tossed it onto her bed. It buzzed again. She picked it up reluctantly and opened Snapchat. Her streak counter had reset. All of them. 307 streaks, gone. She gasped out loud. It didn't make sense. She had sent snaps to everyone less than an hour ago. She tapped her best friend Ashley's name to confirm. No flame icon. No number. Nothing. "Mom," she called out suddenly, voice rising. "Can you come here?" Footsteps approached her room. Her mom appeared at the door, wiping her hands on a kitchen towel. "What is it, sweetie?" "My phone glitched or something. My Snapchat streaks are gone. All of them." Her mom raised an eyebrow. "That's what you're panicking about?" Tessa sighed. "No. I mean, it's weird. Really weird. I think I'm being pranked." Her mom glanced at the phone. "Maybe try deleting the app. Take a break. Your brain could use a rest from staring at screens." She turned and left. Tessa flopped back on her bed. Maybe her mom was right. Maybe it was time to unplug for the weekend. That night, she didn't sleep well. Her dreams were chaotic, full of static and shadows, long hallways, and flickering lights. She woke several times, heart racing, certain she'd heard something in the hallway outside her room. At 3:07 a.m., her phone lit up on the nightstand. A new snap. Her stomach turned before she even saw who it was from. She picked up the phone slowly and read the name. @JohnnyGhost99. The image was waiting. Hands shaking, she tapped it open. The hallway again. Only this time, the door at the end was ajar. And standing just beyond it was the figure. Closer now. Its face was still obscured, hidden in shadows. The light flickered faster. Almost strobe-like. The caption beneath the photo said, "One streak left." Tessa turned off her phone and shoved it under her pillow. She curled into herself and stayed that way until the gray light of morning crept into her room. She skipped breakfast and left the house without a word, deciding to walk instead of take the bus. Her mind raced. Was someone stalking her? Was it an elaborate trick? Did Snapchat accounts get hacked like this often? At the bookstore, she tried to forget. Tried to lose herself in reshelving new arrivals and scanning barcodes. But her mind kept drifting. By lunchtime, she couldn't resist. She checked her phone again. Snapchat was still open. She had a new friend request. From the same user @JohnnyGhost99. She hit ignore. Another snap arrived instantly. This time, it was a video. Tessa closed herself into the supply room before watching. The sound was faint, muffled static mixed with slow, distorted breathing. The video was shaky. The camera tilted and moved forward slowly, walking toward a bedroom door. Her bedroom door. The door creaked open. The figure stepped inside. The video ended before anything else happened. Tessa's knees nearly gave out. She exited the app and called her mom. "Is everything okay at home?" she asked quickly. Her mom sounded normal. "Yeah." "Why?" "Just keep the doors locked. I thought I saw something earlier." Her mom promised to check everything. Tessa hung up and tried to work, but the rest of her shift passed in a fog of anxiety. When she finally got home, she checked every door and window herself. Nothing was out of place. That night, she slept with the light on and her phone face down. At 4:11 a.m., the screen lit up again. Another snap. This time, the caption read, "This is the last one." The picture was not of the hallway. It was of her, asleep in her bed. Same pajamas. Same room. Same messy hair and posters on the wall. The picture had been taken from the foot of her bed. She screamed and bolted upright. The room was empty. She turned on every light and checked the closet, the windows, the hallway, nothing. She called the police. They came, searched the house, found no signs of forced entry. They told her it was likely a digital prank. Someone manipulating old photos. But she knew better. That picture had been taken just hours ago. The angle. The light. Even the cup on her nightstand was in the exact same place. For the next 2 days, Tessa didn't leave her room. She deleted Snapchat. She powered off her phone. She barely ate. But on the third day, she got curious. She opened her laptop and installed Snapchat again, this time using a different login. Just to check. No messages. No friends. Nothing. But when she clicked on Add Friends, one suggestion appeared at the top of the list. At JohnnyGhost99. She didn't click. But a message popped up anyway. The text said, "If you won't send streaks, I will." A snap came through. She braced herself and opened it. It was her again. But not asleep. She was awake. Looking straight into the camera. Only she hadn't taken that picture. Her eyes were hollow, her expression slack, and something dark was standing behind her in the background. The next second, her computer shut off on its own. Tessa screamed and ran out of the room. Her family rushed to her side. She finally told them everything, every snap, every photo, every eerie message. Her mom believed her. They changed all the locks, got security cameras, and scheduled a digital forensics expert to look at her devices. But no trace of the account was ever found. No history. No data. The photos were gone. Completely erased. Weeks passed. The anxiety lingered, but nothing new happened. Until one night, Tessa's best friend Ashley messaged her. "Hey, did you just send me a snap?" Tessa's blood ran cold. She replied, "No. I deleted my account weeks ago." Ashley sent a screenshot. It showed a new account at Streak from the Dead. The snap said, "Don't let them die again." The flame icon was back.